Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Michelle, and I am just so glad you're joining me today. In this explainer, we're going to walk through a really vital financial concept for families. We're specifically focusing on homeowners age 50 and over who are navigating inherited real estate, especially around the Chicago and South suburbs. So if you're starting to think about downsizing, estate planning, or maybe you're helping an aging parent right now, well, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's dive right into this because what we're covering today could literally save your family thousands of dollars and honestly a whole lot of stress. You know, when a parent or loved one passes away, I know from personal experience that taxes are the absolute last thing on a grieving family's mind, right? You're completely focused on honoring their memory, making arrangements, and just being there for one another. But eventually someone gently asks the question, so what are we going to do with the house? And that's tough because the family home is so much more than just bricks and mortar. It's a place filled with decades of memories. But at the same time, it is also often the largest financial asset left behind.
To make that transition easier, we really need to decode a concept called the step up in basis. It's an absolute game changer.
To find the financial silver lining in estate planning here, let's just start by defining our terms. In real estate, your basis is basically your starting line for tax purposes. Usually it's what was originally paid for the property, plus any qualifying improvements made over the years. But the step up in basis, oh, that changes the whole shebang. This rule says that when a property is inherited, the starting line for taxes just completely resets. The IRS actually allows the inherited asset's value to be adjusted, or stepped up, to its current fair market value on the exact date of the owner's passing. So the really crucial distinction to understand here is between the adjusted cost basis, which is calculated during a homeowner's life, and the step up in basis, which is triggered after death. And you might be wondering, why does this matter so much? Well, in communities like Homewood, Flossmoor, Tenley Park, or Orland Park, many homeowners bought their properties back in the 70s, 80s, or 90s for a fraction of what they are worth today. The step up in basis dramatically shifts that tax calculation, virtually wiping out decades of taxable appreciation for the heirs. It's huge. Let's actually look at a real-world example to see exactly how this math works out in practice. Okay, so let's imagine a woman named Mary. Mary purchased her home back in 1988 for $90,000. Over the years, she beautifully maintained it, investing about $30,000 in qualifying improvements. So her adjusted basis, her tax starting line, was $120,000. Now, by the time Mary passed away, her home's value had grown significantly. Its fair market value at her death was $420,000. Her daughter inherited the home, and let's say 6 months later, she decided to sell it for $425,000. This brilliantly illustrates the true power of this role. Because Mary's daughter inherited the home, she got that step up in basis. Her new starting line wasn't Mary's old $120,000. Nope, it reset to the $420,000 value at the time of Mary's passing. So when the daughter sold the house for $425,000, she only faced capital gains taxes on that $5,000 difference. Without this rule, she could have been paying taxes on a devastating $300,000 gain. To put it in perspective, this is just incredible financial relief for families. Now, of course, things can get a little more complicated when we start talking about multiple heirs. Families are wonderfully complex, right? And it isn't always just one child inheriting the home. In a very common setup, say 3 or 4 siblings inheriting a house together, the really fantastic news is that the step-up benefit applies equally to all heirs. Every single sibling receives their share based on that new, stepped-up fair market value. Honestly, though, the real challenge here rarely has to do with the taxes. It's usually the emotional task of siblings trying to agree on whether to keep, rent, renovate, or sell the family home when those deep memories and finances collide. To ensure your family actually gets to enjoy this tax benefit, and frankly, to help smooth out any of those potential sibling disagreements, getting an accurate valuation matters enormously. I really can't stress this enough. Work with licensed appraisers, real estate professionals, and estate attorneys immediately to document the home's fair market value right upon passing. Proper documentation is the absolute foundation of claiming your step up in basis. It just takes all the guesswork right out of the equation for everyone involved. Even with all this in mind, there are still some common pitfalls. While the step-up in basis is incredibly helpful, the inheritance process can still be tricky. The first mistake we see is simply avoiding the conversation for too long just because it feels a bit uncomfortable. But waiting just creates a ton of stress later when records are hard to find. The second mistake, assuming that all inherited property is completely tax-free. While the step-up significantly reduces capital gains, other estate or estate laws might still apply. And finally, misunderstanding ownership structures.
Properties held in certain trusts or with transfer on death arrangements can create totally different outcomes. And that is exactly why having an estate professional on your side is so, so valuable. And this brings us to a very well-meaning but incredibly costly error. Sometimes parents think, you know what, I'll just give the house to my kids right now to make things easier for them later. But inheritances and gifts are treated very differently. Inheriting a home grants your children that wonderful step up in basis. Gifting the home during your lifetime, that accidentally transfers your original basis to your kids, which means you could be inadvertently handing them a massive capital gains tax bill down the road, completely losing the step up benefit. Definitely something to watch out for. So, how do we make sure that doesn't happen? It's all about empowering your family right now. My ultimate goal is to make sure you never find yourself in a stressful situation. Let's shift our focus to how we can take proactive, really empowering steps right now to protect your family's future long before any crisis occurs. The absolute best time to have these conversations is right now, when everyone is healthy, relaxed, and thinking clearly. You can use a few gentle discussion starters to open the dialogue. Simply ask, what do we think the home's value is today? Do we have an updated estate plan? Are our important records organized and easy to find? And most importantly, what are your long-term housing goals? Asking these low-pressure questions creates awareness and gets the family on the same page without forcing any sudden decisions. Because at the end of the day, these conversations are rarely just about real estate. They really are about family, legacy, planning, and protecting the people you care about most. Understanding rules like the step up in basis, it isn't just a financial strategy, it genuinely is an act of love. It's about making sure your children have peace of mind and absolute clarity during a time when they are going to need it the very most. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope you're walking away feeling more informed, empowered, and just totally supported. If you're looking for more guidance on downsizing, aging in place, or really understanding your financial options, I warmly invite you to explore our free resource library tailored specifically for homeowners 50 and over. Remember, you absolutely do not have to navigate these transitions alone. There is a whole community here ready to support you every step of the way. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and please take care of yourselves and your families.